I swear to God, before recording this video, I had like 2 paranormal experiences. I've not had one for ages and it scared the shit out of me. And now I'm filming, so hi! Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Harmony Nice and today I'm going to be continuing my Enchanted Endeavours series, which is a series all about Wicca on my channel. And it feels so good to be doing one of these since it feels like forever since I've done one. So today I'll be doing another highly requested one and I will be clearing up the subject on gods and goddesses, better known as the deities. I know a lot of you guys are kind of confused and maybe a little bit put off Wicca because of the god and the goddess side of it, and trust me, I was completely too at first, being the science and the spiritual girl that I am. So today I'm here to unconfuse you and to put you back onto Wicca, if that's your thing. But it's literally not as weird as it may sound and you may have heard for it to be. This is such a deep and tricky subject to kind of discuss, and it did take a lot of planning to do because of how deep and tricky it is, so I'm really sorry if some of it is a little bit muddly. I did try to put everything that I could into words as best as I possibly could. In this video I will be covering the 3 main ways that we believe or see the deities in a way, I guess. I'll also be covering the different types and the different kind of sets of gods and goddesses that you can personally believe in. Also to know how which deities are right for you and how you can find yours, and also how to honour them and why we need deities as Wiccans, and also what I personally, Harmony Nice, believe in too. But firstly, I do actually have to mention a couple of things and also a quick little disclaimer. Number 1, sorry to be a massive bone dethroner and to ruin your guys' fun, but we do not worship Satan. Satan and God is a Christian belief and we are not Christians. We don't believe in Satan. I'm really sorry about that. Number 2, we are not in a cult. A lot of people on one of my videos before telling me that I was in a cult and that I had joined a cult and I was convincing people to join a cult. To explain this to you, basically, Wicca is a nature religion. It's to do with nature. So unless nature can put us in a cult, we are not in a cult. It's a nature-based religion. And number 3 is more of a little bit of a disclaimer. Obviously, I'm only one Wiccan. I can only tell you exactly what I know and what I have learned as a Wiccan. I can't tell you anything else because obviously I don't know it yet. Everybody practices the faith differently. Everybody believes in deities differently, and that is totally cool. So this is just speaking from my knowledge. And also the last kind of disclaimer is that this video will not be about the general beliefs in Wicca. I do have an all about Wicca video in my Enchanted Endeavours like playlist that I link down below. So if you guys want to know like the general beliefs in Wicca, that will be down there. This is more about the gods and the goddesses that are involved in Wicca. Also, if you'd like to see my previous Enchanted Endeavours episode, I did one about the Wiccan holiday in bulk and the rituals and spells and stuff that you can do around that time. So I will also link that in the playlist down below. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'm just going to hop right into the video before I run on way too much. So to start our kind of downwards spiral journey of me trying to explain all of this, I'm going to start off with the complete basics. Honestly, this is probably the hardest part to kind of wrap your head around, so I'm just going to get it like out of the way. I'm going to be discussing the ways that you can actually believe in the deities, so the way you kind of see the deities. And again, if you are a Wiccan and you don't believe in the deities in this way, that is completely fine. These are just the 3 most common ways that I've learned about and heard about since being a Wiccan, so I thought these would be the ones to mention. So I'm going to start with the way that I personally believe in the gods and the goddesses. And from my understanding, a lot of other Wiccans feel this way as well. I started to put more research into this because I really hated the idea of praying to a god when I first started Wicca. Then I began to research and look into the belief that the deities are actually just personifications of nature. I had no idea how to explain this and put it into words without actually taking like what someone else has said, because it is so hard to explain until one of you amazing guys actually explained it to me perfectly. So I'm going to take what she said, I'll put her name up here, and I'm just going to add a couple of bits here and there. I see the gods and goddesses as just personifications of nature themselves. Not a true being or a person that I believe existed or has existed or exists in the sky or something like that, but a human form of parts of the earth itself. It's easier to connect with nature when you see it as a human human form. So I'm going to give an example of this before I confuse the hell out of you guys. So for example, I'm just going to take the Celtic goddess Ceridwen. Ceridwen is the goddess of the corn, the grain, and the spring mainly. So therefore, the corn, the grain, and the spring, and the spiritual energies inside them and surrounding them are represented as Ceridwen herself. So she is a personification of them. And because there is a god and a goddess for basically representing every single aspect of this earth, I feel like it is the best way of explaining things. I'm just going to give you one more little quick example that may be a little bit better. I'm just gonna take the Oak King. I know he's not technically an official deity, but he's really, really easy to explain in this. So the Oak King is not a man in the sky that controls the oak. He's also not a man inside the oak that controls the oak and the forest and etc, etc, etc. Instead, he is the oak represented as a man. He is the oak himself. If you see them as a spiritual being that is associated with a specific part of the earth or a couple of specific parts to the earth and the spiritual energies surrounding the parts of the earth as well, to kind of create this human form in your mind that you can see as a god or a goddess. That's probably the best way that I could possibly explain this belief. Me personally as a Wiccan, I believe that the earth was formed by itself, which is why it's kind of tied in with science. So things that have been proven to have evolved and that have happened in the past did obviously actually happen. But I also believe that we are spiritual beings and there is magic and energy that science has yet to prove. So this is why this belief is just the best for me. So the second belief is that the deities did actually exist, but they are deceased spirits. So they were people that were living and they're the ones that are calling out to us in our readings because they, like us, were witches or people like us who practice witchcraft, but they were seen as the most powerful form of that. And again, you can believe in this theory and still believe that the earth was created by itself and not by a higher power or something like that. Since there is so many deities, from death gods to summer gods and fertility goddesses, they want to give you every aspect of life, bad and good, to kind of create this like perfect balance, I guess, because they were people as well. That's why nothing is perfect, and that was why there is suffering and also really, really great things happening. I've heard some people believe in this, and I guess to me it does make a little bit of sense, since like I said, I don't believe in like a higher power other than nature. I think a lot of people do find it easier to see them as people that have been deceased and have actually lived throughout the years, but unfortunately to me it doesn't all completely add up. But I haven't done loads and loads of research into it. I've done like brief research into it and haven't really felt like it was the proper belief for me, even though when I first started Wicca I thought this would be the way that I saw it until I changed my mind quite early on about it. But obviously if you do believe in this way and you've done loads of research into it and you just feel like it's the perfect way for you to believe in the deities, then I would definitely recommend you go with it. If that's what you feel is right, then that's what you feel is right. That's totally cool. And the last belief is obviously that the deities are actually a higher power. They're kind of all around us, like how people kind of see other gods and goddesses, one for every single aspect of life, because obviously there's multiple deities. Of course this still makes a little bit of sense to me, but obviously I see it differently. I see them as more nature, whereas like people kind of see them as like these higher beings, whereas that's personally not what I believe. And of course, like I said, you choose to believe this, that is totally okay. I feel like as Wiccans we should all support each other's beliefs no matter how we kind of believe in the deities. It's honestly such a personal thing. Definitely educates each other instead of belittles each other, and just accept that we're not all gonna have the same beliefs because it is a religion. I think so many different like paths and branches and blah blah. I'm getting serious. But yes, and that is kind of that for the 3 ways that you can believe in them. I know you guys are gonna have questions, so definitely add me on Snapchat. I will link my Snapchat in the description down below, so if you have any questions about any of this video, please ask me on there. I'm so much better at replying on Snapchat. Now that we have discussed the 3 ways that you can actually believe in them, I'm now going to be discussing the types and the sets of deities that you can choose to believe in. And in case you guys weren't actually aware, or you just randomly stumbled across this video and you didn't know anything about Wicca, or you're just starting in Wicca, Wiccans usually choose a certain either amount of deities, whether it be all of them, just like 1 or 2. Some people only believe in like the moon goddess and the sun god. Some people choose to only believe like a certain set, but everybody chooses them differently. So these are the main sets of gods and goddesses that you can choose to believe believe in. I'm not going to mention every single deity in every single set because that would literally take the whole entire video. So instead I'm just going to put all of their names of like the main gods and goddesses in these sets down in the bio, which I may regret doing because it'll probably take ages. But I'm going to do that so you guys can see, and if you are interested in any of these sets, if you're just starting out in Wicca or something and you haven't chosen them yet, then you can obviously do your research more into them from there. So let's just continue with the video harmony and stop running on for 1,000 minutes about a load of crap people don't care about. So the first type of deities I'm going to talk about is the Greek and the Roman gods and goddesses. These were traditionally worshipped in ancient Greece and Rome, obviously, and you may have heard of these before and also the legends kind of surrounding them. I'm just going to mention a couple that you may have heard of. The well-known ones are like Zeus, Artemis and Hermes. You may have heard like lots and lots of stories about them, or those names like used. And obviously the Pan god, which a lot of you guys would definitely have heard of, which is the horned figure, which is like half goat, half man. He is actually represented in kind of every single set of deities as something else with a different name. So the next set is the Egyptian gods and goddesses. These include the ones like Ra and Isis and Horus, and a lot of Wiccans actually believe in this because it is such an ancient thing. These are sometimes seen as the most powerful deities of them all. Next is the Norse gods and goddesses. You may have heard me mention a couple of these in videos before, like Odin and Baldur. I think it's pronounced Baldur, I'm not 100% sure. I looked it up and everybody pronounces it differently apparently, so that's good. These are very, very interesting gods and goddesses to learn about. I really, really liked learning them, and when I first started out in Wicca, I thought that that was going to be the path I took. I did change my mind and my beliefs, but they are very, very interesting to learn about. And last but not least, the Celtic gods and goddesses. These are the deities that I feel like I have the most connection with, and of course you may have heard me mention a couple of these in previous videos, like Brigid and Ceridwen. Like I said, I will put down below all the main gods and goddesses in these sets just so you guys can know. So how do you know what deities are right for you? Again, I think it's important to choose your deities before you choose what type of Wiccan you are. Because if you just choose what type of Wiccan you are and the deities don't suit what type of Wiccan you are going to be a little bit stuck. If you guys would like me to do a Enchanted Endeavours episode about the different types of Wiccans and Wiccan paths you can follow, then I would really like to do that, so please let me know down below if you would like to see that. This is something I found really, really tricky when I first started in Wicca, is establishing which deities that I thought were the best. If you feel like you are mostly drawn to the Greek gods and goddesses, that's totally fine, and same with the Egyptian gods and goddesses, again, that's totally fine. And if you feel like you want to follow the Norse path, that's cool, and even the Celtic tradition. If you want to follow any of them individually, any of them is awesome. Whatever you feel most instantly drawn to, you should definitely go for. Like I mentioned before, obviously some Wiccans follow the Gardnerian, that's good, teaching, what I mentioned previously, which only has a god and a goddess, and that's all they follow. Just to give you another take on it, which is very, very commonly used by a lot of Wiccans as well, is that you believe in all of the deities instead of choosing to follow like a certain type. A lot of people see them as they are all the same gods and goddesses, they are just represented differently from different civilizations, which is a common way to kind of incorporate all the deities into your belief, and also a really good way to connect with them all. But if you do not decide to do this, that is totally fine. There is a few other ways that you can decide what deities are right for you. Firstly, some people do things like rune stones to help them decide. I've even heard people do tarot layouts to help them decide. I'm not 100% sure how you would do this. Of course, you can also research these certain individual groups online and feel what's right for you, and whichever one you are most interested in researching, then maybe they would be the right ones for you. And the third one is, like I said, you could choose to do what I do. If you don't feel specifically drawn to any certain group, or maybe you feel drawn to one certain group but you kind of want to incorporate all the others, you can believe that they are all kind of one, just presented differently from different civilizations throughout time, because then you kind of make them feel like they are all relevant to you. This is such a personal thing to decide on, so please, no matter what choice you make it for you. Just because I may believe in something does not mean that you may feel like you believe in something, and that is totally, totally fine. So why do us Wiccans actually include deities in our religion, and how do we actually honour them? So in Wicca, we do actually need our deities for various amounts of things. We can call upon our deities to help us with spells, and also help us to have protection in spells, and some people even call upon their deities for things like when they are doing necromancy and they would like a little bit of extra protection or help, I think it's really, really important to have a close bond with them, because using them in spell work is something that you do really need them for, and like casting circles, basically just like a lot of aspects. And also, for example, if you were doing a ritual or a spell that you could call upon a deity that is relevant to that ritual and spell to kind of help you and protect you and whatever. For an example of this, if you were doing a fertility spell, I don't know why that popped into my mind, but fertility spell, say if you were doing a fertility spell and you would pick a god or goddess that is relevant to fertility to kind of help you out with this. But as Wiccans, obviously we do not believe in punishment after death, but of course we believe in karma, so obviously we don't have to pray to them or anything like you do a Christian god, but I do think it's important to honour them like they kind of honour us, because in a way they work alongside us, we work with them, and it's nice to honour them like they honour us with things and protect us and help us with spell work and stuff. So the ways you can honour them is obviously there's lots and lots of rituals and spells and things to do on the Wiccan holidays, and there's lots of deities relevant to the certain individual Sabbats. When that comes around, there tends to be deities that are relevant to it that you can honour around that time. And also there's rituals and spells that you can do if you just feel like a deity has helped you out a lot recently and you kind of want to give back to them and stuff like that, so obviously you can do that too. Even if you believe that they are just personifications of nature, I still feel like it's really important to honour them, because it is like you're honouring nature and the spiritual energy surrounding that and inside that. I do think it's extremely important to do. And since we kind of see them in a human form, and of course it does apply for the other two beliefs as well. We need the deities and they are great important to us Wiccans, no matter how you kind of believe in them. It helps you connect with the religion and nature and also helps your practices a lot. So now, what do I personally, Harmony Nice, believe in? Like I said at the beginning of the video in the beliefs part, I do follow the belief that they are personifications of nature, and that is my personal belief on how I see them. And also for the deities that I include in my beliefs, even though I feel mostly drawn to the Celtic tradition, so during my spells and my rituals I do feel like the Celtic ones are the ones that I kind of call out to. But nevertheless, I am a pretty strong believer that all of the gods and the goddesses are all one. They are just presented and represented differently from different cultures and different time periods and different places around the world and things like that. So even though I do believe in all one, I do like to include all of the deities in my practices. The Celtic tradition is definitely the one that I feel the most like connection to, so I do include the rest of them and I do honour them when I can, and I do kind of include all the deities in, and that is totally okay no matter what you choose to do. Whether you don't want to do that and you just want to follow one, just do your thing, babies. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I've got for you today. I really hope I explained this the best I possibly could. I literally recorded this video twice yesterday and it just wasn't right. It just wasn't right. I feel like this is a little bit better, so I hope it's okay for you guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this Enchanted Endeavours episode. I've got lots and lots of new really cool ideas for Enchanted Endeavours episodes, so I'm really looking forward to doing them. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.